Chapter 31. M and J. I can save you, but I need to know who among you defiled the pools. Not good, Manu thought. Everyone on the ship stared at the fish humanoid in front of them. His body language didn't seem aggressive. If anything, it was casual, relaxed. Manu's right calf burned and jolted him with pain when he put weight on it. He winced. Bro, are you a Naga? The man in front of them turned to look at Manu. Yes, though I am of the Arkuth, whereas those on the beach are of the Anguis. My name is Deruth, second blade of Deepwatch. Tide Lord Absaloth has declared safe passage for you humans, provided you are not aggressive towards the Naga or defile any Naga domains. He turned to stare at Marcia. If it is not identified which of you defiled the pools, all of you will be executed. Manu wanted to move closer to Deruth, but found his body wouldn't listen to him. He was frozen in place. Not good, he thought. I did. I'm sorry, I didn't know, said Marcia. Deruth nodded. Nothing in his body language showed surprise. I bear you no personal grudge. I am but a blade. My opinion is irrelevant. To honor your honesty, I will make it quick. He closed his eyes and bowed his head for a moment. Ra-ino, witness this one. His poncho fluttered. A line of red appeared on Marcia's neck. A blur, and then Deruth was holding her. May you all honor her sacrifice. Once you have retrieved your people, do not tarry. His form shifted, and they were gone. It was as though they were all suddenly snapped out of hypnosis. What the fuck? Marcia! Jessica screamed out from the raft. Everyone else was in shock. Manu still held the sail, catching the wind to push the raft back towards the beach. He looked at Lou. Bro, I couldn't move when that guy was here. Could you? Lou shook his head. Manu, he must have had some kind of influence. Wow, wonder what level that guy was. What the fuck? Don't any of you care? Jessica blurted. That thing just killed Marcia right in front of us. Lou and Manu shared a glance. Jessica, we don't mean to be disrespectful. What would you have us do? Said Lou. Jessica opened her mouth and then closed it. Fuck! Then she looked at Manu's bleeding leg. Brennan, take the sail from Manu. His leg is fucked. For once, Brennan said nothing, just nodded and took control of the sail. Sit down, Manu, and elevate your leg. Manu put his leg up over the side, and Jessica inspected it. Doesn't look like anything important got hit, but I can't do anything to close it because the first aid kit was on the fucking other raft. She drifted off. Is Jacob glowing? Manu was only half listening as he and everyone else watched the display on the beach. They watched from afar as Jacob faced down the Naga. He did indeed appear to have a blue glow around him. They were too far to hear any of what was being said. Then Jacob tossed the sword on the ground in front of the Naga, and Manu could see that it was the sword that was glowing. Why would he just throw the sword away? Jessica asked. No one answered. Deruth appeared on the beach next to Jacob and tossed Marcia on the ground. Monster. Jessica's eyes shot daggers. A few moments later, Ina was free, and the Naga dispersed, taking the corpses with them. The ants were monsters, but that guy kept his word. Ants could swim. We'd all be dead. He thought about mentioning that to Jessica, but he kept his mouth shut. There was no celebration as Ina and Jacob boarded the ship. Ina was able to jump up on her own, declining help. Jacob had to be lifted. His eyes were drooping and he seemed barely able to stay awake. Jessica immediately went to inspect the spear wound. Her eyes went from one shoulder to the other. What the fuck? Didn't you have a spear in you? Jacob responded groggily. Ruth healed it with his palm, like he was inside me. Jessica narrowed her eyes at the mention of the Sepia Naga. Oh, I guess you're fine then. Moments later, Jacob was asleep. Everyone was exhausted, injured, or both. Caught between being shocked that they were still alive and remembering those who were not, it became an atmosphere of quiet murmurs. Even Brennan seemed subdued, but he still ran off for 5 minutes to preserve a lifetime of mechanical discovery. While he was gone, Manu saw Lou walk over to the Tide Sword. It still lay untouched in the sand where Jacob had tossed it. Lou stared at it a moment and then bent to pick it up carefully. He held it by the blade, his fingers pinching the flat sides to avoid the edge. After walking it back, he placed it on the raft. He noticed Manu looking at him. It would be a shame to leave such a weapon behind. We may have need of it, said Lou simply. Brennan returned in 10 minutes, humming away, with his hands holding out the bottom of his shirt to carry a mass of quickly uprooted plants. A few song bees followed him. As soon as he was on board, they cast off. Of the 6 newly found survivors, only 2 had been rescued. Manu didn't like those odds. As the raft drifted away from the tidal loom, the crew had split into 3 pairs. Brennan was trying to set up an area in the center for his plants, and Jessica was sitting near him, quietly chatting. Jacob had quickly passed out in the front of the raft, and Ina had put on her hoodie then settled nearby. Manu wasn't sure how she could tolerate wearing that in the heat, but it didn't seem to bother her. For a moment, he thought about checking in on her, but decided Jacob would handle anything. He didn't talk to her much because she seemed scared of him. He was used to that. As much as he tried not to be intimidating, people were always apprehensive because of his size. He had learned it was best to not force anything. Jacob, on the other hand, seemed fearless. The way that bro just jumps into danger. Manu had to get angry to be reckless, but Jacob seemed to do so with an icy calm. I wonder if he had a military background, Manu thought. Manu thought back to the fight. He had been outmatched. The Naga soldier had easily baited him into a wide swing and dealt him a fight-ending wound. Manu had felt real panic as the second spear attack was coming at him and his leg had given out. It had taken his brain a few seconds to realize he was still alive and that Jacob had killed that Naga. He owed Jacob his life, twice now. Manu felt guilty that he was the biggest guy among them, and yet his end of the line had failed first. Back on Earth, he had always been one of the biggest guys on the field. He trained his ass off to be the strongest, the best. People often thought large athletes were dumb, but there was a huge amount of technical planning, intentional training, and diet calculation that went into it. He learned the techniques of body mechanics and how to leverage his mass, how to work as a unit of a team that trained until it functioned like a single well-oiled machine. But they hadn't functioned like that, and he felt like the weak link. He wanted to do something about it. He needed to figure out how this world worked. He wanted to train. How had Lu held his end of the line and come out relatively unscathed, he thought. Lu was next to Manu, holding the sail, showing no signs of even being tired. Lu, how did you hold off the Naga on your side? Mine was way too fast for me. Manu, after Ant Island, I got the class Fencer and the skill Parry. I believe that helped me hold him off. Also, I did not try to hit him and only focused on defense. I regret I was not able to dispatch mine as you did. Didn't, bro. I was the one getting dispatched. Jacob took him out right when it was about to be over for me. And yet, I saw you strike the middle one for Jacob as well. It appears we all needed some help. Manu shook his head. No, not good enough. I need to get better. We all need to get better. If we phone it in, this place will kill us all. I agree. We should not phone it in. Lu nodded. You said you have the teacher class. Can you teach me how to parry? Lu looked surprised for once. I suppose I could try? I'm not sure I understand it myself, Manu. Manu was already thinking about how they could potentially start training on the raft. It wouldn't be ideal, but there was simply, and there simply wasn't enough room for footwork. But upper body movement should be trainable here. In fact, not being able to dodge might be a benefit to weapons training. If you couldn't dodge, you would have to deflect and parry. Only one way to find out. Want me to try to teach you how to rage? Lu chuckled. Manu, I'm not sure rage is something I would be proficient at. Manu smiled and thought about what might come next on the journey. Hey bro, did Jacob say anything about the next island or anything about directions? No, Manu. I'm just keeping the wind pointed with the current. Jacob said the current should take us where we need to go. He had a map though, right? We should get it out. He looked for the luggage where Jacob stored the map, but it was missing. In fact, all the containers were gone. Only the pile of vines and extra bamboo had been left untouched. There was a pile of clothes that must have been dumped during the theft. His stomach grumbled. Not good, he thought. Lu, the map is gone. Achievement, Arbiter of Honor. Achievement, First Blood. Achievement, No Man Left Behind. Achievement, Imbuer. Captain, level 7. Oathkeeper, level 4. Skill, Sword Proficiency, Beginner, obtained. Skill, Father's Disappointment, obtained. A spritz of ocean spray misted Jacob's face and he groaned, stretching out his arms. They quickly brushed against the bamboo wood to either side of him. Not enough room for a proper stretch, he thought. He sighed and opened his eyes. His whole body was sore, especially his shoulder, but at least his head wasn't throbbing for once. Father's disappointment, huh? This world could be funny sometimes, he thought. The horizon was awash with tie-dyed pinks and oranges scattered over only a few clouds, for once not completely overcast. The colors reflected off the gentle, cresting waves, creating formations around them. Were sunsets this beautiful back home? He imagined they were, but he just hadn't taken the time to watch them. The feeling of eyes on his back caused him to glance around him. Everyone on the raft except Manu and Ina, who were sleeping, were looking at him. Why is everyone looking at me? Do they want something? He thought. Captain, where are we headed next? Lou asked, breaking the silence. Well, um, the current should take us on the right path, at least for a few more days. Let me check the map to see what the next stop was. I know Obbs had mentioned some specific danger we should avoid. He looked at the center of the raft and saw how much was missing. Captain, the map and much of our other supplies have been taken, said Lou. Uh-oh, Jacob thought. We'll just have to make do, I guess. Captain, surely you remember something of what the danger was, said Brennan. It had something to do with coral? Brennan grunted. Well, when you remember, do inform us. I intend to get some rest. Do not wake me and do not touch the plants. I will know. Yeah, sure. Brennan laid down next to his pile of plants on his side, curled around them. Since I just woke up, I'll stay up through the night to keep an eye out. Shouldn't be more than a day to get there. He looked at Jessica. She had just been staring. He thought he had to say something. Sorry about Marcia. If you need anything, let me know. But we don't really have anything. Sorry. She nodded. I'm just gonna try to get some sleep. She laid down. Lou, why don't you get some sleep as well? I should take over the sail in any case, since you aren't crew yet. Not crew? Well, you definitely will be if you apply. I suppose I should still go through the motions of interviewing you, though. You want to join, right? Should I? If you plan on staying with us, yeah. Manu, too. I think I will. When do I interview? Maybe tomorrow. You have to be tired. Get some rest. Lou nodded. I will, Jacob. Please rouse me if there is any trouble. Jacob was now alone. The sunset had shifted into deeper hues as the sun started sinking into the horizon. While he could still see accurately, he collapsed the sail to avoid drifting during the night. He felt the rhythmic rising and falling of the Wrath beneath him, tasted hints of salt in the air from the sea spray, felt the gentle sea breeze on his face. He looked at Ina, just now starting to wake up with a closed eye yawn, and thought to himself, not bad, Jacob. Breathing in deep, he filled his lungs with the salty air and slowly exhaled.